Now that we have a word list ready, whether you downloaded it from the internet or if you created it by yourself, now we can go ahead and proceed to gaining access to our target website using a word list attack. So we're going to use a tool called Hydra, and Hydra can be used to brute force any type of service, really. I can't think of any service that you can't brute force. So it's a really handy tool to know how to use. We're going to do our example on a web login, but you can use it to gain access to SSH, FTP, routers, anything that asks you for a username and a password, really. So to use the tool, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to type in Hydra, and we're going to put -help to see how to use it. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of options for the tool, but don't be overwhelmed with that. They're all pretty simple to use. So if you go up, you can see that the main syntax of using the tool is the first thing you have to do is put in the name of the tool. So we're going to put Hydra. And then we're going to put the service that we want to attack. So you can see that they have examples here of you attacking an FTP service, people attacking an IMAP service, and other type of services. So in our example, we are interested into gaining access to our login here to this page, and we're going to assume that we don't know a username and a password, and we're going to try to log into the admin without knowing their password. So our target service is going to be this one. So the first thing you want to use is its IP. So the IP is 10.20.14.212. So we're going to put it after the name of the tool. Then, looking at the syntax here, you can see that we have to specify a login and a password. So let's have a look on the -L and the -P options in here. And you can see that you can use a small l to specify one username, or a capital L to specify a list of usernames. So in our example, we're only trying to gain access to the admin. So we're not going to use a list of usernames. We're only going to try to gain access to the admin password. So what we're going to do is we're going to do -L, small, and then we're going to tell it that the username is admin. And then the next thing we need to specify is the password, or a password list. So similar to the L option, you can use a small p to give one password, or you can use a capital P to specify a file or a word list or a dictionary of passwords. So I'm actually going to modify the password file that we created in the previous video. I'm just going to open it in my text editor. So this one, it's right here. It's called test.txt. And I'm just going to add the password for the admin. I know the password for the admin is called admin pass, and I'll just add it somewhere in the middle here. Okay, so I'm going to save it and quit it. And now our word list contains the password. So we're going to do -P, capital P, and then we're going to give it where the password list is stored, and it's stored in root, test.txt. So everything is good until now, and there is only one more thing to do. We still haven't specified what type of service that we're attacking. So we gave it the IP, we gave it the username, and we gave it the list of passwords to try. But Hydra still doesn't know what type of service that we're going to attack. And that is the most important option, and the option that you need to pay the most attention to, because this is where it gets a bit tricky, and this is where things can go wrong. So before I start talking about that, I'm actually going to copy our command so far, and I'm just going to paste it in a notepad. So all we have to do now is tell Hydra what type of service and how to use this service to brute force the username and password for me. And you can see here in the help, it's telling us that these are all the type of the supported services. So as I said, I can't actually think of a service that's not supported. So you can have a look on all of these and try them. What we're interested into is the HTTP, and you can see that there's going to be a minus, and it's going to be either get or post, depending on our target. And after that, it's also going to be a form because it's sent through HTML. And I'll tell you why it's going to be like this. Now let's go down. So I'm going to right click in here, and I'm going to go to inspect element. And I'm gonna look for something called form, and you can see that there's a form. There has to be a form in the HTML pages. And look for the method. I'm gonna zoom this in for you. And note that in here it says that the method is gonna be post. And that way we know that it's a post. And if you look at the URL here, you'll see that the URL is a HTTP, it's not a HTTPS. So therefore, our module that we're going to use here, or the service, is going to be HTTP post form. So it's right here. You can see it, all the type of services, like I said. So it's HTTP followed by a minus, followed by post, and followed by form. And to see how we can use this and to see an example of how you can use this service, I'm actually going to Control-C this. And I'm going to say Hydra -u. And I'm going to give it the name of the form or the name of the service that I want to use, which is going to be HTTP post form. As you can see now, again, it's giving you a long description about how you can use this service. And at the bottom, it gives you examples, and the examples are amazing. The examples are really good because you can just copy and paste them and adapt them to your target. So the format of this service is you give it the location where you want to brute force the form from. You're going to give it the user parameter, so whether it's whatever this parameter is called, and then you're going to give it the password parameter, and then you're going to give it the incorrect message. So when there's a failed login, what happens to the web page? So I'm going to copy this the way it is. And we're going to modify it to adapt to our target. So the first thing we want to put is the page that the login happens from, which is this page. So we're going to put all of this instead of login.php here. So that's all good. Now the next thing that we need to modify is the user and the pass. So these are the names of the parameters that are sent to the web application, and we don't know what these are called. And for this, we're going to use burp suite. Now I'm not going to show you how to configure this because we've done that before. So I'm just going to turn my interceptor on, and I'm going to log in with a wrong username and password. So I just want to see what gets sent to the target web application. So I'm just going to log in with a username admin and just any password. So I'm just going to put random characters, hit enter. And I'm going to go on the headers. And this is what's being sent. So you can see that the username parameter is just called username. So I'm going to copy that and put it here instead of user. And we can also see the password parameter. Again, it's called password instead of pass. And you can see that we also have an extra parameter here, which is and login submit button equals login. So you need to add that as well. And in your case, if you had other things that's being sent, you need to add them as well to your request. So we're going to add that after the pass here. Exactly the way it is. We're not going to modify anything. So it's just going to be and login PHP submit button equals login. The last thing that we need to modify is this part. And this part is the way that Hydra is going to know whether the login is successful or unsuccessful. So the way this is going to work is you either give it a capital F equals to the unsuccessful, so it equals to the failed attempts, or you can give it a capital S and you tell it what happens when a successful login happens. So in my case, I'm going to give it a capital F to tell it what happens when a failed login happens. And I'm just going to turn off the interceptor now, and we can see that we have a failed login. And in a failed login, you can either use this, or in my experimentation, it was easier to just use this. So if you just use the message right here that says not logged in. So we're going to say F equals So this is the most important part, and the most tricky part, I'd say, of the whole attack. So I'm going to go over it again. We can see that the whole request is separated by 3 columns. The start of it is the location where the page that we're going to brute force is. So we took that from here. The second part is the parameters that we're going to be dealing with and that we're going to be sending to the server, and we took that from burp suite. And the third part is the way that burp suite is going to know whether this login is successful or unsuccessful. And we gave it capital F to tell it that this is what happens when the password is wrong. And we told it that you'll see a message called not logged in. So we're going to combine this with the command that we already had. So the command that we already had was Hydra, the IP, followed by the username that we're going to use, which is admin, followed by the password list. And we're going to put all of this after it. And that's it. That's our command done. I'm going to copy this, paste it in here, and execute. And I forgot to tell it the type of the service that we're going to be attacking. So I only gave it what it should send, but I didn't tell it what type of service we're going to attack. So like I said before, it's going to be HTTP post form. So it's the same service that we were inquiring about when we used the U option. So again, copy this, paste it here, hit enter. Now you can use the -v option so that Hydra would actually display every request it sends to the server. I didn't use that right now, so all you see is literally just a blank screen, but we're gonna wait for it until it finds the password for us. Hydra also supports pause and resume, so if you just Control-C out of this, the next time you run it, all you have to do is just put in -R, and that'll actually allow you to continue from where you left the last time. And as you can see now, we managed to find a valid username and password, and you can see that the username is admin and the password is adminpass. And this works against any web login. So this web login doesn't need to have any SQL injections or JavaScript or XSS or anything. So now I can log in with the username admin and password adminpass. And as you can see now, I'm logged in as admin.